Hello, algebra students. We are just about done with chapter 4. We're going to spend today reviewing all of the different things that we've done with writing equations, linear equations, all with x's and y's, and we're going to talk about scatter plots. What we're going to do today in this video is basically go through a bunch of the problems right from your worksheet for today. So I don't think that I'm going to necessarily do every single problem from the worksheet, but I'll at least do some of the problems in each section. So you've got some examples, and as you know, the answer key will always be in Schoology, so you can certainly look things up there. In problems like these first couple, when I give you a graph, I want to write the equation in slope-intercept form. For slope-intercept form, remember it looks like y equals mx plus b. To be able to write that, I need two things. I need the slope, and I need the y-intercept. So in number 1, I want to start by finding some places where my line hits right on grid marks. This clearly has a positive slope. As I go from left to right, it's going uphill. How much is it going uphill? I'm going up 1, 2, 3, and over 1. I can do that again. Up 1, 2, 3, and over 1. I could keep on doing it because it's a constant rate of change. So my slope is 3 over 1, or just 3, right? We can simplify that. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So that means right here, make sure you're always looking at the y-axis, not the x-axis. That y-intercept is at -2, so my b is going to be -2. So then my equation would be y equals 3x minus 2. Now, I'm not going to do number 2 with you. However, I'm going to show you where a couple of points are. So if you need to pause it to get these graphed on your worksheet, you certainly can. I can see my y-intercept is right here. And then I have to find some other nice places where it crosses right on grid marks. Right there is one, and then there's one way down here. So if you need to pause it to get those points graphed, if you have a hard time with finding those points yourself, go ahead and do that. And then we're going to move on. I have a couple more. These two are both negative slopes. I'm going to do number 3 for this one. For this negative slope, again, finding some places where it's hitting right on those grid marks. This one has a negative slope. I'm going to move down 1, 2, 3, and over 2. So that means that my slope is -3 over 2. My y-intercept is right here at 1. So my equation is going to be y equals -3 over 2x plus 1. Notice that when I just wrote the slope, I did not put an x, because slope is just a number. When you write the equation, the x is in the equation. Again, on number 4, I'm not going to do this one. However, I'll show you where a bunch of points are. Feel free to graph those if you need to. Again, this is a negative slope, so make sure that you're getting a negative with your slope number. In 5 and 6, I want to write the slope-intercept form for the equation, and I have to start with point slope. I'm giving you a point and a slope. It makes sense to start with point slope. So if we're going to do one of these, let's do the one with the fraction. Everybody loves fractions. So point slope form again is this. Y minus the y number equals m times x minus the x number. So I'll have y minus the y number in my ordered pair is -4. The slope is 4/5. And then x minus the x number is -5. So I would, on both of these, take the time to do a keep, change, change, or add the opposite. So what I have right now is just y plus 4. And when I distribute, this is the easy distribution. There's no problem there. 4/5 x. It's going to be plus. And again, this is where I know some of you kind of freak out a little bit, but you can type this into your calculator if you want to. I don't think you need to, though. 4/5 times 5, or 5 over 1. Let's go away. This is just 4. Now, one more step. For slope-intercept form, I need the y by itself. I don't want y plus 4. I just want y. So I would get rid of the adding 4. Now, that's going to happen to get rid of the 4 on both sides. So my equation is just going to be y equals 4/5 x. You can write a plus 0 if you want to, just don't need to. Number 6 is going to be similar to that, but again, not as difficult because it doesn't have a fraction. Same work here with one added step. I need to find the slope. In the last problem, I told you the slope. So I guess let's just stick with those odds. First thing I need then is my slope. And remember, slope formula is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. That just means I'm subtracting the y's on the top and the x's on the bottom. Each ordered pair has an x and a y. So we can make those our 1s and these are our 2s. So my slope, the way everything is labeled, 5 minus negative 1 over negative 4 minus a negative 3. So 5 plus 1 is 6. Negative 4 plus 3 is going to be a negative 1. And 6 over negative 1, don't leave that. We can simplify that to negative 6. Now when I pick one of the ordered pairs to write my equation with, I truly don't care which ordered pair you choose. It does not matter. We'll get the same equation either way. We started this and we said, hey, let's just pick that first one just because everyone does the same one then. It doesn't matter. You can use either one. Personally, I do like it when I've got negatives in my ordered pair because then we do a keep, change, and we get a bunch of addition. So I'm going to have y minus my y number equals the slope times x minus the x number. And again, 2 steps. We're going to distribute, and then we'll move the number that's with the y. So I have negative 6x. Negative 6 times 3 is a negative 18, or you could have just written minus 18. And then I'm going to subtract 1. So y equals negative 6x plus a negative 19, or minus 19. In these 2 problems, we're looking at writing equations of lines that are parallel to the line that's given. And in the next 2, we're going to talk about perpendicular. So you can see in the directions, I did say that parallel lines have the same slope, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. So change the sign, flip it over. This one, we're going to do number 9. I don't need to worry about the opposite reciprocal thing because it's parallel. The slope of this line that's given to me is right here. My slope is negative 4. Once I know that, I really don't even need this equation anymore. Okay, I'm going to erase that squiggly thing that I did, but I'm just showing you that doesn't matter at all now that I know my slope, right? I just needed my slopes to match, and I have that. Now, I have a point and a slope. This is just like what we just did. So y minus the y number equals m times x minus the x number. Y plus 5, negative 4x. Be careful here. You may want to do a keep, change, so I can put that's a negative 4 times a negative 1, which is a positive 4. And then we'll get rid of the 5. Positive 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Now, by the way, if you have been doing this with me and all you're doing is just writing down the answers and not doing any of this work, that's not helping you. The reason I'm going through this is so you have some examples and you should be writing these examples down. And if you haven't, you might want to rewind and go back and do those problems again with the video if you need to. Now, on 11 and 12, I need to work with these that have a perpendicular slope. Remember, perpendicular means opposite reciprocal slopes. So right now, the slope of this line is negative 1/4. That means that my perpendicular slope, remember this is the symbol for perpendicular, my perpendicular slope is going to be a positive, and I'll flip it over to be 4 over 1, or just 4. And again, after that, if you want to scribble out that equation, you can. I don't need anything else from that equation. Don't worry about anything else from there. So point slope, y minus my y number, m times x minus my x number. 4x minus 8, and then we're going to add a 3. So I get that y equals 4x minus 5. On these last two, and we're just going to do one of them, it says graph the points to construct a scatter plot, and then we just want to know if it's a positive correlation, negative correlation, or no correlation. I'm not even asking you right now to come up with a line of best fit, but I do want to be able to draw a line that fits the data if there is a good line that I can draw. I know that I've been doing odds on everything else. I kind of was tending to think that I would do number 14 instead of 13, but I guess we can just stick with odds here. All right, so each of these are ordered pairs. I know that it doesn't really look like it sometimes, but this is just in a table of values, right? So I've got 106, and then I've got 623. Sorry, I wish I had this all graphed already. So 23 is right here. You can certainly pause this or fast forward on this part while I'm graphing. 932. And then 829. Oh, I'm sorry, I grabbed that last one wrong. That's supposed to be right there. 800 with 29. Right there. Probably already you can sort of see a trend. 600 with 18. 900 with 30. And 400 with 18, 100 with 8, 500 with 19, and the last one, 300 with 11. Okay, so this to me is pretty obviously a positive correlation. It's positive because as the x's are increasing, so are the y's. That means as I go farther to the right, going uphill. If it was going downhill, it'd be negative. If it's totally scattered everywhere, it's going to be a no correlation. So this one, and you're going to have to forgive me because I can't use a straight edge. We're going to try to get a line that represents the data. You want some points that are above the line and some that are below. Not perfectly straight, but that's not a bad line. Okay. The rest of the worksheet is your homework to practice this. There's an answer key in Schoology. When you're all done, take the short formative in Schoology also, and we're coming up to be close to the test. So if you're struggling with any of this, please let me know.